boxer? Can he cope with a clever boxer? Can he survive a heavy puncher? And can he persevere when he's hurt? You notice right from the start, Tyson is applying the pressure.
He ridiculed Mike Tyson, but was soon knocked out. This is scary to watch. One of the most heated rivalries in boxing history is here. Mike Tyson was enraged after his opponent mocked him in front of the entire world. But what occurred next was genuinely terrifying. Will this huge rival be able to face up to Iron Mike's overwhelming force, or will he meet an unimaginable fate in the ring? You won't want to miss this spectacular clash, believe me. Prepare to be enthralled by the drama, violence, and surprising turn of events that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Back in the day, Mike Tyson was a force to be reckoned with in the boxing ring. He exuded this intimidating aura that made it seem like he despised every opponent he faced. But you know what? Out of all the rivals he encountered, there was one guy he truly hated: Tyrell Biggs. I never really hated anybody. I think I hate Tyrell Biggs, growled Iron Mike before their world title fight in 1987. He was fired up and he wanted to give Biggs a harsh lesson and hurt him really bad. Tyson was a young 21-year-old back then, and he aimed to crush every opponent he faced on his path to becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion. His mentor, Cus D'Amato, taught him to be focused and use intimidation as a psychological weapon, but it was never meant to be personal, except for Tyrell Biggs. You see, Tyson was known for being a devastating finisher when he had an opponent hurt, but he admits that he intentionally prolonged the fight with Biggs. He wanted to make him suffer. The beating went on until the end of the 7th round when Tyson finally sent a bloodied and battered Biggs crashing to the canvas. Tyson said after the fight, "In the 3rd round I knew I had him. He was crying. When I was hitting him on the body, he was making noises, like a woman screaming. I could have knocked him out any time after the 3rd, but I wanted to make him pay for what he said." Biggs acted all confused, claiming that he didn't say anything to anger Tyson. He only mentioned that he was confident he could beat him. But come on, deep down, Biggs probably knew that there was more to it than that. Tyson had some real beef with him, and he wasn't holding back. You know, like many personal grudges in boxing, the animosity between Mike Tyson and Tyrell Biggs stemmed from their amateur days. Back then, Biggs was the shining star of the U.S. team. He was a slick, tall, and rangy 6'5" boxer who eventually won a gold medal at the 1984 LA Olympics. The thing is, Biggs dominated the super heavyweight division, leaving Tyson to compete in the amateur heavyweight ranks, which was below 91 kilograms. As a teenager, Tyson faced off against Henry Tillman in a U.S. box-off, and he lost. This defeat shattered his Olympic dream, and he was so furious that he stormed out of the venue where the trials were held and started pounding a tree trunk with his bare fists. But you know what made it even worse for Tyson? It wasn't Tillman, whom he later knocked out in just 1 round as a pro. It was Biggs who made him feel little, both physically and skill-wise. Biggs was 5 years older than Tyson, and he took every chance to mock the young Brooklyn puncher's height and crude boxing skills. Even though Biggs didn't qualify for the Olympics, Tyson still joined the U.S. team in LA to gain experience. But guess what? When a well-meaning fan at the airport wished Tyson luck in his fight, Biggs couldn't help but make a snide remark saying something like, "What? You mean on his flight, not his fight? He's not fighting at the Olympics." Fast forward 3 years later, and they were about to face each other as professionals. Tyson was still fuming, and he hadn't forgotten all those jabs and insults from Biggs. In his autobiography, Undisputed Truth, Tyson revealed, "Stuff like that stayed with me then. I trained so hard. I was motivated to kick his ass." It just goes to show that in the world of boxing, grudges can simmer for a long time, and when the opportunity for payback arises, you better believe these fighters are fueled by that intense desire for revenge. Oh man, talk about that fight brings back some intense memories for Tyson. He really doesn't like going into details about it. It was 7 rounds of pure punishment. And he didn't hold back. Elbows, low blows, punches after the bell, you name it. By 1987, their positions in the boxing world had completely flipped. Both were undefeated, but Tyson had become a heavyweight force to be reckoned with, holding all the major belts except for Michael Spink's lineal title. On the other hand, Biggs had a 15-0 record, but his stick-and-move style didn't exactly excite fans. He struggled with drug issues, which unfortunately plagued many American heavyweights of that era, leading to interruptions in his career due to trips to rehab. But despite all that, Biggs confidently took on the role of Tyson's superior in the pre-fight hype, just like back in their amateur days. The guy even referred to Tyson as "our little friend" and said he wasn't afraid of him, considering his height and weight advantage over Tyson. Biggs was 6'5" and 225 pounds, while Tyson was officially listed as just under 6 feet, although many suspected he was closer to 5 feet 10 inches, which made the whole thing a bit comical. Biggs seemed pretty incredulous that Tyson was considered the underdog, boasting about his boxing skills and strong jab. He believed Tyson hadn't faced anyone like him, someone who wouldn't just be in the ring to survive against him. Tyson's recent opponents had tried to spoil his game plan and go the distance, which led to some doubts about Tyson's ability and power in the media. But trust me, all that just fueled Tyson's anger even more. He was a ticking time bomb of rage, known as Kid Dynamite, and when he stepped into the ring in Atlantic City against Biggs, he was a sight to behold. Shirtless, wearing his title belt, and drenched in sweat. The first round went according to Biggs' plan, with him gliding around the ring and landing 19 jabs to Tyson's face. But that was the only moment of glory for Biggs that night. Tyson had other plans. He started cutting off the ring, applying pressure, and landing clean shots on Biggs from the second round onwards. By the third round, Biggs was already cut above the eye and bleeding from the mouth. Tyson wasn't messing around, and he was determined to make Biggs pay for all the insults and mockery from the past. You know, when Tyson faced off against Biggs, it was a different approach compared to his previous fights. Instead of going for the quick knockout like he did when he demolished Trevor Berbick to win the heavyweight title in 1986, Tyson decided to prolong the punishment for Biggs. He was determined to soften him up with those crunching body shots. Gotta give credit to Biggs though. He showed tremendous heart by taking the beating and even getting up from the first knockdown caused by Tyson's explosive left hook in the 7th round. But despite his bravery, Tyson's relentless follow-up assault left Biggs slumped in his own corner, and the referee had to wave it off. After such a dominant display against an undefeated Olympic standout like Biggs, even Tyson's critics had to admit that he was the real deal. Within a year, Tyson cleared out the doubts by laying waste to Larry Holmes, Tony Tubbs, and Michael Spinks, knocking him out in just 91 seconds. There was no question now, Tyson was undoubtedly the world's #1 heavyweight. As for Biggs, his career took a different turn. He had some ups and downs, going 15-9 after the fight with Tyson before retiring in 1998. Unfortunately, the bout against Tyson was his only shot at a world title. Now, Tyson had his share of run-ins with other opponents too. He had a feud with Mitch Blood Green, which bizarrely started after they fought in the ring, then clashed in a street brawl later on, and he infamously bit Evander Holyfield's ear and Lennox Lewis's thigh during fights. But you see, with most opponents, it was like Tyson was at war with himself, as much as he was harboring real resentment toward them. However, with Biggs, it was a whole different story. It was truly personal. Tyson explained it after the beatdown of Biggs, saying, "He talked so much, he didn't show any class or respect. I wanted to make him pay for his health." Needless to say, he did. And that pretty much sums up the intense emotions Tyson's had towards Biggs, and boy did he make sure Biggs paid a hefty price for all the disrespect. Tyson's grudge against Tyrell Biggs was personal, evident in their 1987 bout where he dished out a punishing beating. Biggs' boxing skills could not save him from Tyson's fury, and the victory solidified Tyson's dominance, erasing any doubt about his standing as the world's top heavyweight. Thanks for watching! So what was the most shocking part of this fight for you? Do you think that height really matters in the ring, or does it all come down to skill and willpower? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting boxing stories and sports analysis.